Got our company.
Hey, babe, they're waiting on you.
Hi, everybody. We're just waiting for everybody to come in, and then we'll get started. In the meantime, we're wrestling dogs, and I've heard about scorpions already.
Oh no, honestly, this year has been blessedly scorpion-less. Not free, but less.
Yeah,
less. I would agree. They're way less this year than last year. I thought it would be more because of drier.
Yeah.
Is it for y'all too?
Yeah, we've only had 2 in the house so far.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last time we had them dropping out of the ceiling onto the bed.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
every time we turn around, there was a scorpion.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we need to get black lights or something, because that way, like at night, because that one night, I think we told you where they were in the Velcro. I just couldn't. Like, that was my.
Yeah, that was the end.
That would kind of broke me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't sleep, I don't think, for, gosh, it must have been 3 or 4 days, because there was one night I kept hearing a tink, tink, tink. And I was like, what is that noise? And it sounded like it came from the fan. So I thought it was the fan making the sound. Well, it wasn't. It was what the tail or the claw of the scorpion kept hitting the fan. It was up in the fan.
Right. And then eventually, somehow it got onto one of the arms of the fan, got dragged around. So it made this like metallic scraping noise.
Ding,
And then
ding,
all of a
ding,
sudden
ding.
you heard on the bed.
Patrick rocketed out of the bed like somebody had set dynamite off underneath him, and all of a sudden the light came on, and there was Scorpion just marching across our bed.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, he survived.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're tough.
Oh, how unfortunate.
yes, it was.
That's not good. We had like one, and I took him outside. I had to grab him with
It was a really large one,
tongs,
though,
yeah.
like unusually large for a bark scorpion, like because he was like carrying it around. We threw it on the road, and it was like running around looking for something to sting.
which at first seems benevolent of me, but it's not. I wanted him to fry like an eggy
There you
on the
go.
road. I hate those guys. I'm not.
Well, do you guys want to just keep going, or should I actually start with introduction?
Start with
Yeah,
introductions.
introductions.
Okay.
No, I bet they don't have scorpions in Boston.
I would do what Patrick did and just run like there is no tomorrow. So anything like that.
No, I mean, like once it's in the bed, like you can't. Denise is right. It's a good 2 or 3 days where you don't sleep. Like, the idea is like we could just burn the house down. Like,
And
that's a
that
viable
was a
option.
real thought for us. I was like,
Right?
oh, let's just torch the place and start over. Of course, he made it worse because in the night, sometimes we'd be laying there, and all of a sudden he would go, tink, 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 tink.
Oh,
I mean, like, you
absolutely.
bastard.
The nightstand has the little glass lamp. Just tap it
So
with your
he'd
finger.
tap it, and we're like, oh.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's,
You guys are nuts. Okay. So my name is Mina Jane. I am the director of the Ashland Public Library in Massachusetts, and I am so thrilled to be here with Ilona and Gordon Andrews, and Grace and Patrick Draven, who, like I said to him earlier, he's Mr. Draven to me. I don't know what I'll be calling him tonight. So I will be introducing them in just a second. Just wanted to say a couple things first. One is that I'd like to thank the Friends of the Ashland Library who support all of our programming, and the libraries Needham, Somerville, and Dedham who have partnered with us on this program. You can buy signed books from Grace and Ilona and Gordon from Blue Willow Bookshop, and I will put a link in the chat about that, because signed books are gold. They're great gifts. I keep all of mine. I don't give any of mine away, so I shouldn't say they're great gifts. So you all are here because you probably know Ilona and Gordon Andrews and Grace Draven. We have a special guest star, Patrick Draven, here with us tonight. So Ilona and Gordon are superstar, rock star authors of romance. They write together and somehow make it work. And we love their books. Grace Draven, award-winning, I'm going to say multi-platinum because I think that's an album thing. Best-selling author who writes amazing fantasy and paranormal stories and romance stories, and I just can't wait to hear this discussion. So this is a dinner discussion. We're going to pretend that Ilona, Gordon, Grace, and Patrick are just having dinner, and we're going to be flies on the wall to hear all of their conversation. And as you can tell, we've already heard a little bit about scorpions. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more. But to get started, oh, I was going to say, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A. I will be paying attention to that, and I will be interspersing questions as we have time. And in the chat, feel free to chat away. I see lots of hearts and flowers coming up, and I think that that's wonderful. So I'm going to just start with a quick question. How did you guys meet?
Luna, you want to answer that, or you want me to?
I have muted ourselves.
Oh,
You go ahead.
Okay, so I hope I can remember this correctly, but I think I was out of town. This was back in 2014, I think it was. And I was out of town for a Renaissance festival. It was in Waxahachie, I think is what it was. And my very good friend and editor, Laura Gasway, had contacted me, and she said, I think you need to check your inbox, look at your Facebook page, because your social media is blowing up, because I'm trying to reach you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what now? I said, what happened? She's like, Ilona Andrews has just read Master of Crows and commented on it. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah, go take a look. And Ilona had said, she and Gordon had really enjoyed the book, and which was awesome. And then Ilona sends me this, email, and very succinct, and says, you don't have a website. You need a website. I'm going to make you a website. And I said, okay, thank you. And she did, and it was awesome. And so to thank them both, we invited them to have dinner with us in Green, Texas, which is, right outside of New Braunfels. And so we were in Houston at the time. So we drove up and we met them there. And we just spent the weekend in Green. And so we ended up just having dinner with them, and it was awesome. And after a couple of years had passed, and we'd meet up periodically, like at Murder by the Book in Houston. I would go to the signings when they were there. And then we had a dual signing at one point. And then Patrick and I moved to the Hill Country here in Texas, and we weren't very far from them. And so now, which is awesome, because I think they're 20 miles away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Something
literally
like
like a straight shot down
Not
this
too far.
one, farm road. And so we get to see them a lot more often. We usually try to meet up, once every couple of months, every two or three months
it's
for
been
dinner.
hard during the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard during the pandemic. We didn't see you guys for about a year.
That's true.
Yeah, but we saw you guys like, what, a week or so ago?
Yeah. Yeah. When we met
That
up.
was super nice.
So we
I
get to
really like that place. That was
I
a
like
good
that
little
place.
Yeah, it's a great place. So they've come out to our house, and we've come out to their house. And I think the first time they came out to our house for dinner, Patrick put Gordon to work, helping him put a new grill
Build
together.
a cowboy grill.
So yeah, and I
That was
always
fun.
make Ilona make the fruit salad and stuff. I just hand her a knife and a cutting board and say, "Here, you go at it." So nobody sits around and just hangs out in my kitchen. You get to work.
No, but your property is so beautiful, actually. I've always enjoyed going out, and like, Patrick's like, I got a new grill, and I'm like, all right, when am I coming over?
Yeah.
Let's put it together. Let's see what that thing can do. Steaks. Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm glad we live closer to you guys though now.
Oh
Because
yeah, same here.
I remember driving from Wimberley back to Cedar Park in the dark, and man, it was country dark.
Oh yeah, it gets black out there. Really, it's not as dark as it used to be, but that area is considered dark sky. I think is what
Oh.
it is. You can really see the stars as a dark sky area. But yeah, I mean, there's points where you can walk outside and you can't see your hand in front of your face because it's just.
Yeah, it's super close
Yeah.
now. Like we can stay with you guys till pretty late, and then
Yeah, pop over. It's not as far now. Yeah.
yeah, which is really nice.
Wimberley is kind of weird place. So it's basically in the hill country, but it's like it's kind of full of like affluent old people and tourists. And so
Yeah.
it's a bit of a struggle to get through the main roads intersection because people just wander around in herds because
They
nothing else
do,
can
and they
happen.
go slow, and they don't know where they're going. And if they're not running the stop sign, they sit at it forever. It's like, can you please go?
I did that right turn, and somebody beeped at me, the bastard.
Yeah. They're like, do you want us to run these people over? Come on.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna hit people, dude. Sorry you're in a hurry, but
Yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, I think that's long story short. That's how we met. Do I have that right? Does that sound right to you guys? Am I remembering that
that's about
correctly?
right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Ilona telling me like that you were such a good writer, but you needed a presence on social media.
Yeah, and I
Like,
didn't have.
She is a firm believer. You have to have a website. You have to
No,
have
and
a
she was
blog.
right.
You
Absolutely.
And
have to have a website.
You didn't have anything. It was like,
No.
how are people gonna know what you're all about and
Well,
without
it's more
that.
than that. It's like, 99% of the time when they're hitting the writer's site, they're looking for next release. And
True.
if there's no place to put the next release and just park that announcement there, they never know when stuff comes out.
See, it started with a website. It ended with corporate. I don't know, like I don't want to call it like corporate contract indebtedness, I guess, or
What are you talking about?
having a contract with New York,
Oh, yeah, I guess.
being a
Yeah,
waiter.
Yeah, that's true. See,
Yeah, wage slave.
look what y'all did.
Lines, the salt lines of New York publishing.
So I have to ask you, actually, I'm going to ask Patrick this. When you all get together and do you talk about books, you talk about other things, and do you like jump into those conversations, or do you feel like you have plenty of other things to talk about?
Oh, I think it's, yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things to talk about. And for the most part, it's really not about the industry or business. It's just personal. It's what we've been doing lately, what interests we have. Gordon's always interesting with what he's pulling up and the different things he's getting involved with. Like I loved his electric lawnmower. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
he's always got neat projects on the side doing things like that.
Well, you always have stuff you're doing around the house. It's always interesting to me.
Oh yeah.
Like
Well,
you're always improving the house and the property, and
that's by necessity. It's just
Yeah,
falling
there's
apart.
falling
So
apart on us. So
yeah,
yeah.
like
well, no,
It's not falling apart.
and we,
It's a lovely home.
no, it's lovely, but yeah, it's a lovely property. Yeah, but we also, to answer the question, we also talk about our children. We all have that in common. We all have
Yeah, we all have children.
children and
Similar ages.
Yeah.
so
yeah,
they're-
similar ages.
They're kind of the adult children present with adult problems, and
Yeah, all of our kids are grown-ups now, so it's different than
Almost
when they were
all.
kids. Almost
Yeah.
all.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's we do talk shop occasionally. We do talk a little bit about the industry, mostly because both of us kind of me and Denise, me and Grace, we don't have really a writer conventions are places you go to talk to people that you see once a year, right? And so there's very few opportunities to really sit down and discuss and say, okay, what do you think about this? Like, what this thing that they're coming up with, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? What have you heard? So yeah, but it's not, we try to basically limit those conversations to reasonable volume, I guess.
That's true. I mean, sometimes I'll have some questions, I'll solicit Ilona for advice on certain things. She always has really good advice and has really guided me on some stuff. And I know there's been a couple of times we were in my kitchen at one point and we were cooking, and I said, I am really stuck on this scene and I keep coming up with ideas for it, and it just keeps making it more complicated. And I think it's going to really compromise this character. So she's listening to me rant and rave about, like, I can't figure out. And she just sort of gives me this look and she says, well, make this happen. I mean, it was like this perfect golden moment. And it was one of those solutions that was so simple. You know how you can't see the forest for the trees, or you end up getting wrapped around your own axle so hard you can't see the simple answer. And I know I just sort of looked at her with that sort of deer in the headlights look, and I was like, oh my God, okay, here, have a beer. All right, so tell me what it is.
That's a fair reward.
Yeah, it's a fair reward.
Yeah, you guys always have good beer. I will say that.
No, I mean, this happens a lot, and it's not, it's much easier to go to another writer and say, look at my stuff. Why am I stuck here? Because you do get like stuck in the loop, and it's fortunate for us because there is the two of us, so we can bounce ideas off each other. But a lot of times it's just the solution is simple. It's in front of you, and you're like completely blind to it. Like when we were finishing Little Bee Fever, we were in the copy edit stage, And there was a moment where, you know, that was pointed out, like, this does not make sense. And I was like, oh my God, no, it does not. What do we do? We're at the copy edit. We can't really change it a lot. And so we were sitting there and we were like, we're just gonna have to like plug this hole somehow. And I think we ended up doing some tweaks, and I think it works now. But yeah, it was just,
I hope so.
we worked on that book for so long, and this was a glaring inconsistency that was just staring you in the face. And we just completely were like, why isn't she dead? Well, I don't know why she isn't dead. She should be dead. We have set it up so she should be dead. Why is she alive? You know, so it was like, those moments come up sometimes in writing, and we just, you know, it always helps to have somebody else to bounce the ideas off.
So Patricia asks, Ilona, did you then create Grace's first website?
Yeah, Grace is making it out to be some kind of big thing. I installed a WordPress installation on the website, and I uploaded a theme. It was a cute theme that was like one of the collections of many themes, and I put the images on it.
You're super good at that stuff, though.
Yeah, she really is. It turned out to be a beautiful website. So it isn't that small of a thing alone.
It is that small of a thing. It was literally like an evening of work, and it was kind of placeholder because you just had nothing. And I was like, well, at least there's place to like say, okay, here's my next series or next book coming out, you know, so people can come and check it out. And so yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't some deep dive web development. It was literally just like click, uploaded the theme, click, created the index page. Good to go.
I couldn't have done that, dude.
I
couldn't have done it to save my life.
No way. Mine would have been a Grace screen with a yellow sticky note on it that said Grace Draven.
Okay. No, not really. Not really.
No, you're good at that stuff.
And we would have still bought your book. So
Thank you. Hey, the website helped.
So Ruth says that this is a dinner party. What are your favorite meals to share with each other? And I have a follow-up question with that, because you had said that you went out for dinner last week. Do people like fan around you guys? Like, no?
No. No.
We're anonymous. It's beautiful. It's
We are
lovely.
beautifully anonymous.
It is so nice to be anonymous. I can't even tell you how awesome it is.
Yeah,
Because, you're just a person.
yeah, we're just, probably the only person who, at least when the four of us get together, and certainly when we go out to dinner, the person who gets the most reaction from other people in the restaurant is Patrick, because they always compliment him on his hair.
Yeah.
He is a handsome man.
That's weird.
No, I can say that. You're a handsome dude.
I think he is. I'm
Because it
biased.
sparkles.
Yeah. So they either say, "Oh, your hair is amazing," or they'll be like, "Wow, you look like Geralt of Rivia."
Yeah.
That's been more recent. So,
I just love it. They come up and say, "You know who you look like?" I go, "I know. Gosh, you talking to me."
Right. So then
Oh,
it confuses
that's
them. So yeah, that's probably the person who gets the most attention. But yeah, whenever we've been out together, I don't think we've ever had anybody recognize us. Would you say? I mean, I'm certainly very
No.
not famous in the least.
No, we're not. I don't think even at conventions, I will just hide my thing so people don't see, because nobody knows. You know, if you look at conventions, everyone's like looking at people to figure out if people are famous, and no one knows because we're author famous. Like, it's, you know, we're kind of anonymous, so I just hide my thing. But I think we got recognized one time at a Best Buy or something. Do you remember?
We got recognized at the Best Buy. We got recognized. Cedar Park was the problem. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, because one of our daughters, it was Oksana, her friend's mom read the books, and she cornered Sana in Victoria's Secret one time and interrogated Sana.
Who was like 12 years old and was just trying to buy some pretty bras, you know, and it was like, do not do this to my kid. Do not do this to my child again, ever. So
yeah, but we're generally, that's a great thing. I feel like we're super anonymous. Like, I don't think we've ever been recognized, really, ever.
But as far as food, because there's a food question there.
Oh,
Okay, so at our dinner we had.
Walking? What the fuck are they doing? Go ahead.
First of all, you're on camera,
Oh, it's a
so
deer.
don't curse. Second of all, it's a deer.
There's your false alarm.
Okay,
I'm just glad he's wearing pants.
have you ever
Yeah.
seen that meme of a cat, right? And overall, standing up like this, and the caption is, "What the hell do they think they're doing over there?" That's my husband. It's like anybody goes by the house, and like we have like half a freaking acre before the road, right? Somebody walks on the road. He's like,
Well, they don't
What
need
is
to
it?
be. Yeah,
yeah,
they
they're
don't
like,
need to.
yes, so I love like people live around here. But anyway, food. So at our dinner it was family style, which was lovely.
Oh, it was lovely.
So Grace and I was split a salmon, wasn't it?
Yep, it was a salmon.
And they split a steak, and I had just the most delicious wild mushrooms. I'm a giant mushroom fiend because the area of Russia where I grew up, they were a delicacy. They didn't really grow there that much. And so, yeah, I got to have wild mushrooms. Like,
Those
I
were
don't remember the
delicious.
salmon, but the mushrooms were kicking.
Yeah, the mushrooms are really good.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the meal. The meal was lovely, absolutely lovely.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had baked beans in a jelly jar. Do you remember, Patrick? Those were pretty good, actually.
Yeah, they were. And I thought they had croutons in there, but it was, what was the bacon
It
belly?
was,
Pork belly.
pork belly.
Pork belly, yeah, it was good.
Oh, man, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've eaten in a lot of different places, though. We've eaten, oh, you guys took us that place in Dallas with the wild game.
Oh, that's right. I can't remember the
That's really
name of it
nice.
now. I forgot who it was that recommended that to me because we met you guys there and y'all went back a second
we
time,
went-
right?
Was it a convention? Why
It
was
was the
all there?
RT in Dallas. And then
Oh.
y'all went back a second time for something else because I remember y'all telling me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and y'all
Yeah.
took us to that super fancy steakhouse in Houston.
Yes. Yeah, that was
They have like a dress code now, and they have a minimum.
And have a minimum of $100 per order or something
Right.
like that. And I was like, you guys are insane.
yeah, that was Steak 48. I remember that.
48.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Crazy.
that's probably the fanciest restaurant I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, remember all the cars that would pull up for the valets to, put everybody was like Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Yeah, it was like a car show. It was like a crazy, like there were Maseratis and
nuts.
Ferraris.
I told Patrick, I said, you really need to pull up in your Ford F-150.
Completely
Just
dirty.
totally
clean,
dirty
yeah.
and just
Here.
like, here you go.
And people had G-Wagons. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was an experience. We went once. That was plenty.
That was plenty because it was so loud. We had to shout at each other and we were in
Yeah.
that booth right next to each other basically. So yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it had like
It
a
was
weird
good, too loud.
club, like a club vibe.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
I like dinner to be kind of quiet.
yeah,
and-
it's like quiet and then a bottle of wine and just quiet conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those places where people went, to see and be seen. It was my first time there. Because remember, it was like one of the few places that was still open after you guys had finished the book signing
Yeah.
at a Murder by the Book.
That's right. Yeah, that's
I remember that very vaguely. I think I was really tired, and I'm like,
It was late.
at some point, Grace can tell you, when you finish a signing and you're just done, you're just kind of zombified. You just follow where people tell you to go.
Yeah, and that's the biggest deal is like usually, after signings and stuff, if you can find a place that's open,
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. You
yeah,
just chill out.
because otherwise it's going back to the room and eating candy bars and other weird stuff. Not ideal.
No.
Well, except for the mushrooms, you guys, do you consider yourself foodies? You like to try different things?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do. Sorry, Ilona, why don't you go ahead? I'm just jumping in on it because I
No,
love
you
You
guys are
go ahead.
foodies.
You're
Yeah, you
more
go ahead.
foodie than we are.
Yeah, you guys are. I would consider you guys foodies.
I was recently watching a show on Netflix called Street Foods Latin America, and I love Latin American food. And this one that they were really concentrating on for this first episode was in Salvador de Bahia in Brazil.
no.
And this one lady, she serves out of her kitchen in her home, and there's like one table that's set up in an alleyway right outside of her front door. That is the restaurant. And if she has more people than the table can hold, she'll put out another little table. And if that fills up, people sit on the ground and eat. And her food is really good. And one of these dishes that she made was called moqueca. And it's made with dinde oil, which is made from palm fruit. and it's got fish, and you can make it with shrimp. And then they talked about this really wonderful food called a cottage, which is made with black-eyed pea flour, and it's stuffed with all kinds of good things. So after I watched that, my oldest daughter and I were like, okay, we need to order dinde oil, we need to pick up shrimp, we need to pick up fish, and we need to pick up black-eyed peas, because we're going to make moqueca and a cottage. And of course, we will invite the Andrews to come try it.
So wait, is that still going to happen? Is that going to be a thing?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
I like that.
So yeah, we're very experimental. We like to try stuff. Now, I mean, I draw the line at some things, like I'm not going to serve up or, prepare a kasu marzu, which is maggot cheese, by the way, if you don't know.
Oh.
But yeah, don't worry, I won't invite you guys for that.
No.
Yeah.
But I'll turn that over to y'all. I would say y'all are foodies. Y'all are very experimental with stuff. Y'all
Yeah,
like to try
we're
things.
not as much. We're just, we have preferred cuisines. Like we'll eat like the Tex-Mex, obviously, a lot of Tex-Mex. Gordon has the hobo moments where he just wants like can of Bush's baked beans with some kind of meat in it.
That's good as hell, dude.
Yeah, we eat a lot of like Asian inspired cuisine. Like we have a lot of Korean, we have a fried rice a lot, we do basically, like if I'm in a bind, it's going to be some kind of marinated meat with sauce and veggies and rice. That's it.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, Denise, I eat sausage on a stick wrapped in a pancake. So
That's
regularly,
Yeah, we cannot
I cannot-
brand the foodie.
I can't
title.
call myself a foodie.
Hey, that's good stuff. I
agree.
Yeah.
My daughter makes fun of me for that. So
I got really stressed out yesterday, and here's was my awesome foodie dinner, right? I was sitting there and I was just like collapsing basically under the whole thing. And so I just wanted childhood food. So I ended up ordering a ham. I had a grocery order going. So I ended up ordering a ham and some bread. And I ate big slice of ham, just like straight up, not cooked or anything, just whatever cooked ham was, right? Big slice of ham, a chunk of bread, and tomatoes with salt on them. Because
That
that's what
sounds
I used to
delicious.
do. I used to eat that when I would come home from school.
if you had some kvass with that, it would have been.
Yeah, if you had pasta, it would be lovely. But yeah, I ate that, and that was my dinner, and I loved it, and I'm probably gonna do it tonight again because, bleh.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Will you order me a burger from 54th?
I will order you a burger from 54.
Sweet.
You deserve a burger from
I
me.
do.
You
I worked
super
hard.
today.
I worked too hard.
Yes.
I feel like I should get a 6-pack of medium strength beer. Domestics will.
Do you not have a bunch of beer?
Yeah, I
in the
do.
little
Oh,
fridge?
do you guys want any beer while you're here? I
Yeah.
can bring you guys beer.
What you got?
We'll talk later.
Yeah.
I've got beer.
Well, I know one of my favorite things to have is very simple, and I serve it up if I don't feel like doing a whole lot of cooking, is I will grill halloumi cheese
Oh, yeah.
in a pan and serve it with an olive oil and lemon vinaigrette with dill, and we'll just eat that with pita bread and sweet port wine. It's delicious.
Yep, we've had it. We had it at your house. I actually had it
Yeah.
where, we are just, we're all getting kind of collectively in our family slightly lactose intolerant, so we're cutting the cheese down a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
So,
That's
but it
terrible.
is delicious. The fried cheese. Oh my goodness! I saw the recipe you really would like. It's like it's they had brie, but you can actually do it with any melted cheese. And it's basically they cook it in a pan with like tiny tomatoes and basil, and supposedly it turns
Ooh.
out great.
It sounds
But
amazing.
yeah, I'm
We have tiny tomatoes.
somewhat game to try it, but I'm not sure. Like if I made it, like half of it would be thrown away because we probably wouldn't eat it. We'd all taste it and be like, "This is delicious, but really bad for me."
Call us over. We'll eat it. That sounds like a hot caprese salad. Yum.
Is that? Oh, I don't know.
So I've heard that you put a grill together. So is there grilling involved in this?
Yeah. We will put. Patrick always has a new grill when I go to his house. Like Patrick, always invariably, when I go to his house, he has some new device designed to cook meat over flame. This is amazing. That's never a bad thing. Like, that's the way it should be. So we will, a lot of times he will have the new thing. We'll put it together. It's super cool. Sometimes we'll have beer, and just chat and put the thing together. And then, the steaks and whatever stuff is ready. And we just sit around their beautiful property and grill meat, and then we eat it. So
It turns
Yep,
out really
that's
good.
how it goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for as a side note, because I see some of the messages popping up. Yes, we are actually at Ilona's house. We are in one of their rooms. So yeah,
Yes.
we are hanging out with them. We're just in different rooms.
the problem is with the office is if we were all there, it'd be kind of a mess.
Well, the problem is really we could probably finagle the video, but the audio is really difficult because the mic would pick up different things and you would end up with a mess. And ultimately, this is not as much about us hanging out as it is about us answering your cool questions and, letting you kind of, clear up stuff. And so we wanted you to have like a clear feed so you can actually hear what we're saying and actually see the all four
It
of us.
seems to be working really well.
It seems to be working, yeah.
And my household is not set up for this kind of thing, actually. I mean, literally the noise level, it's like hell with the lid off over there sometimes because we have dogs as well, which are quite loud. I have an autistic child who just does not understand the boundaries and the barriers that come with, no, you cannot come in this room. You cannot make this noise for this amount of time. He just has no concept of that. And so we would have constant distraction and interruption and explosions in the kitchen. And so this is probably the best way to do it for sure.
We hope you guys wouldn't mind. This way,
Yeah.
we're still close.
Yeah.
And we are technically on the same property.
Yeah,
We
we're
are.
kind of hanging out.
I was just impressed that somebody has seen you enough, Ilona and Gordon, to know that that's your house in different rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our office. That's where we work. Actually.
Yeah, that's where
And the
we're-
problem is, unlike our study, there's just the one computer in the office because we sit together like this, and that's how we work, like in front
Yeah.
of one computer together.
So that's how y'all collaborate so well, is because you're right next to each other.
It's
You
it
can
didn't
just stop
start
it
that
when
way,
you-
but it works
Yeah,
best
it
for us.
works best for us, yeah.
Yeah.
We just, we couldn't go down to the office because I swear, I thought that I don't know what the hell was up with that painter crew, but I legit was like paranoid that they would kill themselves, while painting our house. It was just a non-stop adventure I can't even.
No, and that was
explain.
the one highlight. I have to give her credit. Our oldest daughter, when we came back from giving them, the time to do all the stuff, she had cleaned that room that you were in. She had cleaned it spotless for us. And there was that little bright bit of sunshine when we came back to okay, the house looks terrible, but the office looks great.
Yeah, she couldn't do anything about the house.
Yeah, she couldn't do anything
was
about the house. Yeah.
She went all out. You walked in there and it was like sparkles were working.
Yeah, she cleaned, she vacuumed.
It smelled
yeah.
like fabuloso. It was lovely.
Yeah, the house was wrecked, but the office looks great.
Was like
Oh, this is funny because I'd asked this a little bit earlier about does Patrick help Grace with her writing? You had such a good answer to this. Would you mind saying it again?
Oh, yeah.
I don't help her at all.
Oh,
She's
that's
all on
BS.
her own.
He does.
Nothing ever
no,
happens.
he helps
Wow.
quite a bit, actually. He is like my principal resource reference for all things martial arts, weaponry, armor. It can be weaponry that's contemporary. It can be weaponry that's historical. That's just his expertise. It's also his hobby and his passion. So he has always helped me block scenes. He's very physical. He's very fit. And so I can get him to do things like, battle vacuum cleaners, because the vacuum cleaner is supposed to represent this adversary and he's the person fighting it. He has rolled on the floor in the foyer trying to recreate what it would be like to roll under a horse. Yeah, so I've had him do all kinds of things like that. And he just goes along with it, or I'll be like, okay, so I have this situation where so-and-so is hanging from a rafter trying to get free of this. And he will explain all of these things. And so I feel like by him having that knowledge and being able to work through these things in a very physical way, I can write them and sound very authentic, which is great. So yeah, he's very helpful in that regard, to say the least. Now, I don't co-write with him because his suggestions for every freaking book is to kill everybody off. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
No.
Yes.
That's just a roll of the dice. No, but see, what she doesn't realize is this gives me an excuse to buy new weaponry and armor when she says, oh, well, we need this. And well, I don't have one of those. So I think I'm going to purchase one so I have a reference.
That's how we ended up with 2 or 3 chainmail shirts. It's like, I need to have this. It's like, oh, well, I need another chainmail shirt so I can show you how this looks. So.
You don't have
That's
chainmail
not
shirt.
cheap.
No.
That's expensive, no?
They sure display well when you get them out there.
And they're
Yeah, what's-
heavy.
Yeah.
Do you have it on a mannequin? What do you, like a sewing mannequin? What do you have it on?
Basically, most of the stuff's all put away. But every once in a while, like recently, we sort of revamped the house a little bit. And for some reason, we had all these pillar candles everywhere. And so they're like 5-foot tall pillar candles. One of them was made from iron, but it just so happens that it was like supports the curios and all that. So I just used a bunch of leather straps and used it as sort of a
Yeah, so we have a Roman curios with the helmet that's part of the living room decoration.
Aw.
Awesome.
It's like Marvin the Martian though, because he's
Yeah.
kind of short.
Right, exactly.
You even have his voice a little bit. That's hilarious. So how about you, Ilona and Gordon? How do you block out your fight scenes?
Same, just it's the 2 of us. Oh, wait. Oh, step carefully over Tubbins. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
No, we will, it's usually the 2 of us, and we go through the things. And most of our fights are melee fights with weapons, but we also do some gun stuff, and we have some stuff.
Yeah, that actually, the sword in particular is actually a terrible example, because what I didn't realize is that this thing is incredibly sharp. So it's
Is
a
it?
leaf blade, yeah. And so we one time would use
Oh,
it
yeah.
for like a
Oh, that's so sharp.
practice.
Jesus,
It's still sharp.
you almost
Okay.
cut my arm with this thing.
Yeah,
one time.
one time. And so when we practice, we typically reverse the blade. So this is the part that would touch. And so, and I normally when you buy swords or sword-like objects, because they're not always battle ready. So when you basically buy the props like that, normally they're not sharp. They're shipped and then you're expected to sharpen them themselves. This thing is incredibly sharp. So, I after we done that, I went to put it away and I was like, oh my goodness, had I not reversed it, we would have to go to ER because it's really, really sharp.
Yeah, but anything will work. A broomstick.
Broomsticks are safer. They're not sharp.
Knitting needles can be, daggers or whatever.
Yeah,
you need them to
like
be.
whatever you need them to be. Yeah,
We will
it's like
sometimes-
sticks.
We will rope the children. I remember more. We don't see them as often, but like when both the kids lived here, we would make them like you stand there, and we would literally use them to block the scene out. Like
A lot of the stuff we do actually is this online research. There's many videos available on YouTube that will basically demonstrate fancy.
oh, isn't that a human weapon?
Yeah, human weapon is one of the good ones. A lot of times we will watch a movie and we'll slow the action down as much as we can so we can see what they're actually doing, and we might take like a move out of that fight or something.
You know
like
what
that.
had the best? There was a movie with Jason Bateman or Christian. Oh, they did kung fu in the movie.
It was okay.
Who knows what the movie is?
Christian
Christian
Bale
Bale.
was the guy.
Christian Bale was the guy, and they did this amazing sort of kung fu with guns and
Yeah, it was some kind of dystopian future one.
yeah, just
it
it
was
was
really
amazing.
fun to watch.
Is someone saying is Equilibrium? Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
that's probably what it is.
Is that what it is?
I don't remember.
That's a wicked good movie. Like the stuff
Um,
that they do in there is really,
yeah.
and some people have swords and some people have guns. It's really amazing film.
It's just it's trying to basically make sure that your movements make sense and where people are standing makes sense. And a lot of times people don't realize, but like when we really do a complicated sword scene, it's very important that you know where the left arm is, where the right arm is, and what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Does it make sense?
Does it
Can I
make
do
sense?
this?
Yeah. If you turn left, where's your right arm? You know, so things like that. So it's not as exciting. It's not that we're actually sword fighting, and most of the times it's like turn, okay, step forward. How much space do you have? You know, so it's kind of very slow, step by step, trying to get it to a logical place, I guess. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, Patrick, how does it go for you guys?
That's about the same. It's just that you're really trying to figure out what's happening, and when you're writing the scene, that you don't get like, well, when she's writing the scene, you don't get like a third arm in there or something. You know, something magical happens, and all of a sudden you've got extra arms and
Yeah, and it has to
weapons.
physically make sense
Yeah.
too. It can't be there. And there's other like minor details and stuff. Like, I think it was another writer had asked me, what is the sound? Because she didn't have weaponry in her house. It's like, what is the sound that a sword makes when it comes out of a sheath? And so, or a scabbard. So I went to him and said, get me a couple of different selections. We have several swords in the house.
And it all depends on,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so I think, was it you did a wooden scabbard, a leather scabbard, and what else? There was a couple of other ones. And in the end, they don't make a sound.
No,
You know,
they
you
don't.
always,
Yeah.
yeah, you always hear that sound in movies where
Yeah.
it's like they don't sound like that at all, you know,
Well,
and
because
so I
if,
went back
if
to
if
it.
it had to make a sound, that means your sword is actually cutting the scabbard as it's pulling out. You're dulling it as you're pulling it out. I mean, who would want that?
Yeah, and so movies are doing, you know, there's those, when they talk about sound effects, that is exactly what it is. It is done for effect, but it's not accurate, so.
That's what a Foley artist is for.
Exactly, it's your folio artist doing that.
So what I'm getting from this is that Ilona and Gordon are sort of like the low tech, you know, brooms and knitting needles, and Grace and Patrick, you'll go out and get like the chain mails.
Yeah, they have way too
more
much weapons.
edged weapons than we do.
Yeah,
Like they have a
it's
tremendous
insane.
amount
It's
of,
insane. Yeah.
like I've got action figures. Patrick has weapons, lots and lots of weapons.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of times where I've had to tell guests, you know, don't mind the swords that you see propped up in the water closet. We don't have room for hanging them all up. And it was cool though, because
The
you know,
Who liked it.
The Who liked it. You know, when that sword fan that we have in the living room, you know, that one where it's nicely displayed. Okay, so when the Who came to visit, they, right before they were leaving, they all took turns taking pictures of each other standing in front of that sword fan as the photo.
Okay, let's talk about the Who, because it came up on Facebook and that means it's real. How does this happen?
Okay, so, all right. This was one, yeah, it's a good thing Patrick and I have been with each other for 38 years, because otherwise I think he would have killed me. So, but when the Who was first coming to the US to tour, this was back in 2019, I was telling my daughter at one point, I said, because we were going to go see them, they were going to be in Houston, and then they were going to go to Austin. There was going to be about a day's break in between. Okay, so they play in Houston, travel up to Austin, have, you know, one day off, and then play the next night. So I told my daughter, I said, you know what, it'd be so funny if I invited them to lunch, because they have actually a series on there called Who's in the Kitchen, where they would film, where they were at different restaurants and stuff like that. So I told my daughter, I said, you know, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and send them an email and invite them to lunch. And so I hit up their contact page and I sent them an email fully with the expectation I would never hear anything back.
Right.
And said, hey, we are 45 minutes south of Austin. On your day off, on this particular day, you are more than welcome to come to our house for dinner. We'll serve cowboy ribeyes, which are also called tomahawk steaks. And I said, we'll grill those. And I sent a picture of our property.
Buy another grill.
Right. So I sent a picture of our property. I said, we have more than enough room. We'll have everybody outside. It's beautiful weather, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and no, I'm not a creepy stalker Who fan. Here's, my name is Grace Draven. You can vet me here through my website. I didn't hear anything for about a week. And then I went and checked my email, and I got this email in reply from the tour manager. And I think it took me 3 or 4 reads to actually accept the fact that I had gotten a reply back. And he said, "Hi, Grace. Thank you so much for the invitation. We would love to attend. There are 14 of us. Can you accept all those people?" And so at that point, the way the scheduling was working out, Patrick and I were going to the Emerald City Writers Convention a week before this was all supposed to take place. So when we flew back, it was just a mad dash to try to get everything ready. And I remember I walked out of the study after I got the email. He was sitting in the chair looking at TV, and he looked over at me. I said, "Okay, don't kill me, but I did something." And he was sort of like, "What?" And I said, "The Who are coming to lunch." So, and that was that. They did, and they were awesome. They were fabulous. They're just wonderful gentlemen, and
Yeah, the nicest gentlemen.
they really were. They were fabulous. And they did an a cappella version of Wolf Totem by playing on the war drum in our living room.
Yes,
We have that filmed.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was amazing. So amazing.
And then I get a call from Grace, right? She calls me and she says, "The Who are at my house." And I didn't immediately connect it. And I'm like, "Who, what? Horton the Who? What, who? Who, what, who?" And she's like, the Who are at my house. I gotta go." And she hung up. And I was like, okay, that was very exciting. I guess I'm gonna call her later. And then she posted the pictures on Facebook, and I was like, oh, the Who. Okay. It was like complete, like, no context call in the middle of the day. And I was like, what is she on about?
Yeah, we do need to specify it's HU,
Yes,
which is
not
a Mongolian throat singing
rock band. Yeah, not
Yeah,
the
they're-
British old guys.
Right.
So
No, they're great. They're ambassadors to their country, so they're
yeah,
just
they were
terrific.
awesome. So yeah, we had to. There was some planning that went on because they were coming in with their tour bus and their trailer attached, and we were on a narrow road. They couldn't turn around, so I had to get in touch with a wedding venue that was down the road from us that had a large parking lot where the bus could turn. And I called them and I said, "Hi, I'm a neighbor down the street, and this is going to sound a little weird, but I have a Mongolian throat singing rock band coming to my house for lunch in about 3 days. Can we borrow your parking lot just long enough so they can turn the tour bus around?"
And I knew it would work because that's Kevin Fowler's place, and he has a tour bus very similar to
Yeah,
what
and they're
theirs
just
was.
like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." So they were real nice about it. Yeah. So
I'm glad you specified who versus who.
right, exactly. So I learned a little bit of Mongolian, and I'm still learning some Mongolian. And I'm actually doing some translation work for the guitarist's father. He wrote a book, and he's had it translated into English, but I'm doing some tweaking right now on it. So yeah, they're lovely, lovely people. And Mongolian's a really cool language. So
I think it's really funny and interesting that you contacted Ilona and Gordon when you knew the Who was coming. Is that something that you guys do when something exciting happens in your lives?
oh yeah, I contact when exciting things happen, when frightening things happen. They were so kind to us when Patrick was in the hospital, and this is when we had an ice storm that came through here this last year, and I lived down a hill. I didn't think I'd be able to get out of the subdivision, and they have a 4-wheel drive, and they're just like, "Look, we will pick him up from the hospital," and they did. So they were so helpful. It's a blessing and a privilege to have such kind friends.
Absolutely, always indebted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Man,
It's not. It wasn't that big.
yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
get it. Friends don't owe, man.
It was a 25.
You would have done it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But we truly appreciate it. It was awesome.
Scariest part of it, right? It was winter wonderland and there was ice and everything, but that wasn't the problem. The scariest part of it is that we pull up to the hospital and we go to the ER entrance and we're like, hey, we're looking for so and so, and they're like, We haven't seen him. I was like, there's no way you would miss him. Super tall, long white hair. You know, and they're like, no, we don't have it. And then we realize there's a second entrance. So we go around to the second entrance, and it's very cold. It's very cold, and it's very icy, right? And Gordon is driving, and he's like, that's him walking. I was like, no way. She told him to stay and wait for us. It's like, no, it's him walking. It is Patrick walking.
Yeah.
After being in a hospital for several days.
Yeah. What was
In
it?
the cold.
Were you going to be like David Bruce Banner at the end of the whole TV show where you're slowly hitchhiking and sad piano music is playing?
That's right. Yeah, that's,
Like, what the hell? So yeah, we kind of just grabbed him off the street.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like the worst part of it, where we didn't know where Patrick was. That's it.
Well, I think that's amazing. So when did you actually meet? Was this how long ago?
2014, I think.
I think it was 2014. I want to say, you know how it was? It was after Masters of Crow, but before
Before Radiance.
right?
Yeah, I think so. Because
Before
the
Radiance,
first
right?
time we met, yeah, the first time we met in person was when we all went to dinner at the Grist Mill in Green.
Yeah, that
That was when we met in person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just wondering because you seem so close, and it's only been like less than 10 years, but it just seems like you really have had a lot of experiences together.
Yeah, I think we have, and having them close too has been nice. I think we just click very well.
they're just easy to know. They're good people.
Yeah, I think, just very practical minded about things, and we agree on a lot of stuff. And even the stuff we disagree on, it's okay with that. It's like we just agree to disagree and we go on to the next thing. I don't think we need to see each other as echo chambers of each other, but we do have a lot of things in common. And even those things that are different, we can still talk about it. And it's just good conversation, and they're just good friends. Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. I feel like
Yeah.
as soon as we met, like
Yeah.
it seemed easy to hang out with you guys, and it's effortless. We just hang
Yeah.
out and get along, at least on my part, I feel like.
Patrick and Grace are amazing people. They've been
Yeah.
very, very, very good friends to us. And we're just, we met at a kind of similar point, I think, in our lives, because we both had careers going, all the two families. Again, we have children are
Dogs.
similar ages, we have dogs. We kind of moved at a similar time. So
Yeah.
we faced, similar issues with moving, and we moved to a similar area where, again, like, so when the blizzard was, like, I called and I was like, do you need wood? And they're like, no. Do you need wood? So we kind of, we had gone through a lot of similar things due to being neighbors and being in a similar, basically, kind of business and position as parents and, family members.
Yeah, and Patrick and I are both a couple of two-fisted Irish,
Yeah.
good fellas. We just,
At least, a tankard in each, so two.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I've ever had a program where we've talked about beer so much, which is pretty awesome. Actually, somebody before the program asked if you guys play D&D together, and if you do or if you don't, are you interested in the movie?
I'm going to let Patrick and Denise go first on this.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer for the movie. I'm so on it. I probably wouldn't go to the theaters to see it. I'd probably wait until, like stream it. We don't play D&D together. We actually have such a hard time, really, even though we live close together. We try to see each other, 2 or 3 months at a time, between times. We both have really packed schedules. I did play D&D when I was in college quite regularly. My brother was a brilliant DM, and actually he was the person who taught me the foundations of how to do good world building, and playing D&D really helped with that. I have not played D&D in years though, and I didn't do it in high school, but in college, yeah, absolutely. Patrick has played a couple of times, but I don't know that it's really his thing.
Well, I noticed that building the campaigns, that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time.
It does.
It's really interesting. I love the way it flows once it's built. It'd be great because my youngest daughter, she really wants us to do campaigns as a
Yeah.
family.
And we
So,
might, and I've been a DM before, so I could probably DM the game, you know, but keep it fairly simple and so forth, but it's been a long time.
Oh, I'm with you, Denise. I've seen the trailer. I'm not blown away. And the problem is I've been burned by them before. We went to the movies to see that D&D movie, the really bad one, a few.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
We went to the movies for that. And it was my jaw. I couldn't. Is this the real movie? Are we being punked by Ashton Kutcher? Is
Yeah.
this like a real film? The only thing that saved it is that we were able to go see the Emperor's New Groove right after that.
Oh yeah, okay, that's an awesome movie. That is an awesome movie.
Yeah, so we so lucked out because all of us, even the kids as young as they were like, Dad, did that suck? And I was like, yeah, you bet your ass it did. That sucked.
Yeah.
That's not D&D. And I played D&D back in the old days with the Satanic Panic, like 80s.
Yeah, that's when we
Yeah.
played.
Like there's even, a lot of people don't know, there's a really bad movie with Tom Hanks where there's like a satanic D&D college killer. No, it's a real thing.
Yep.
And my thing is, there's so much lore. There's 40 years at least of lore. There's Drizzt, and then they make these movies and it's no one you heard of. It makes no sense. Like, why is it always thieves? Why does it always have to be funny thieves? I'm gonna go on a complete fanboy rant here, but like, come on, where's the barbarian? Where's the ranger? Why is everybody a thief or a bard? No, this is stupid. I'm like you, I'll probably watch it on streaming.
Yeah.
I will give them not $1 of my theater money for that.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been burned too many times with that. No thanks.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, we don't really play D&D, but we're massive computer gamers. And so we play the computer version of D&D.
Yeah, I'll play computer versions of D&D.
I know all the rules. You know, it's simply because like we played all the computer adaptation. But yeah, you know, when you hit about, I want to say in your 20s, you're like, oh, friends must get together, must do things, must play games, you know. In your 30s, that slows down. And for me, once I hit the 40s, I was like, I don't care. I don't have time. I'm tired. I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to like cross stitch or something and, you know, be surrounded by dogs and children. And I'm not going and I'm not dressing up and it's too far to drive. And I love you from afar. You're a good friend. Goodbye. You know, call me sometime to bitch about things. And that's it. Like, honestly, you can't get me out of the house. Like, Grace and Patrick are probably just about the only ones besides the children, because I'm not down for that. My brain is fried at the end of the day. And I'm like, you want me to do what now? No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and I am naturally hermit-like. Yeah. So the pandemic did not affect me in that way. And then I wouldn't go and see almost anybody with the exception of y'all. I just wouldn't go see anybody anyway. And I damn sure don't like when people come here. I'm like, what in the hell? I don't know you.
So can you imagine like a month of renovations with people here every day? It's like, oh,
I couldn't do it. I was happy to see y'all. The dogs got excited.
It was so funny because like that last Friday when the painters were finally leaving, right? So we shut the door and we exhaled. And then the painter comes back and knocks on the door. And my husband like snapped into his Sergeant Gordon voice. And what came out was kind of like this roar of like, what the hell do you want now? You know, and it's like, and he had forgotten the paint can upstairs. But, and he was like, stand here, I'll go and get the paint can. And so he went upstairs, stomped upstairs, got the paint can, brought it downstairs, opened the door, said, here.
I know.
And then shut the door.
I fear I may have been rude to that poor man. And I'm sorry. Oh, Patrick, did you see my new mailbox?
You know what? I didn't pay attention.
Okay, you have to see the new mailbox.
I have
to.
And you have to tell me it's fancy. Because it is.
Pour us a beer and we'll tour the mailbox.
We'll go see the mailbox, yes.
There you go. Yes.
I feel like we should have a drink of beer every time you say beer. We can make it a game.
You know, and the sad thing is we typically neither of us basically drinks that much. It's just like when we get together, we have the obligatory beer.
That's
But
true.
yeah,
It's nice. It's nice.
it's nice. Yes. Occasionally, we have a pool where we hide from the Texas heat, and we'll have a beer while in the pool, which is an amazing thing. But yeah, like to the point to where our house had aspirations of like having a wine bar, and so there's a bar in like of the living room where you're supposed to put fancy bottles and liquor and all of that, and that's basically it's a tea bar. There's all kind of tea
Yeah,
and
you just
coffee
get
in
it
there.
over for your
Tea
tea.
and coffee in there, and that's it. And so yes, we actually do not drink that much. It's just like it's kind of almost a ritual. Get together, try different beers.
Yeah, if we find something cool, we might bring it over. And Grace and Patrick always have really cool, and ale too.
Yeah,
Didn't
the
they have,
ale.
don't you guys have ales?
Yeah, we usually try
Sometimes.
to keep some in stock. Like we have Skull Splitter.
Yeah.
We'll get that, and then
Some good
yeah,
stouts.
Jacobite ale, which is brewed with coriander. That one's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's some other ones that are odd or like microbrewery kind of beers that
I
we'll
always
try
like,
out.
yeah, Freyok was a good one
Yeah,
as well.
Freyok Heather Ale was a good one. So we'll get some of those. My brother-in-law who'll come to visit with my sister sometimes, he always brings down beers. They're the worst effing beers I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
There was one that, I mean, he
No,
is
no.
consistent about bringing the worst beers. I don't know how y'all can drink it. There was one, it was like a dead guy ale. I swear to God, it tasted like they brewed it with a dead guy.
Oh.
So yeah, but yeah, we usually try different things, wines, beers, stuff like that. We're not drinkers really, but
Right,
we do like, it's really more for the taste.
Not consumed in quantity, it's
Mm-mm.
just usually one or two. It's
Yeah,
not-
but it's fun to try different things.
Just
Ilona,
like
what's your?
charcuterie board, or what am I looking for here?
Oh,
Your
the
cheese board.
oh, the charcuterie boards.
Yes.
Yeah, Ilona and Gordon have put together a really nice one before. Whenever we would come to visit, they usually have one there, and that's always good. I try to put one together, but mine never look as pretty as theirs.
Well, there is a question in the chat about what's your top 3 things to have on a charcuterie board.
Ilona, I'll let
I
you go.
haven't used cheese.
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. What are 3 things that you must have? Okay. Well, you have to have some kind of cured meat. So you're gonna have a salami, or preferably like the good Italian kind that is kind of hard and and you're going to have obviously some kind of cheese. The trick with the cheese is that either cut the cheese into cubes or cut into the cheese. And because here's the thing, if you just have a block of cheese sitting on there with a knife, some people do that. People tend to be reluctant to be the first one to cut off a piece of cheese. So, chop up some cheese. And I am a super big fan of like grapes, because to me, grapes will go well with cured meat. Grapes will go well with basically cheese. Like if you have the savory kind of, the savory cheese, the saltiness of cured meat, and then the sweetness of the grape, you kind of hit all of your flavors. So I got
Dates.
really elaborate.
no, sometimes we have them with dates. Dates are really nice with it sometimes. Some people like olives.
Yeah.
Something that's a little bit pickled or briny can also be a nice flavor.
Preserves.
Preserves, yeah.
The one thing that I do absolutely hate is I have to have some kind of bread that's basically like maybe French bread sliced real thin, or like a baguette slice, some kind of bread. Because a lot of times people, when they approach the charcuterie board, they're looking for it's basically reconstructed sandwich. Let's be honest, it's a sandwich buffet. And so some places won't serve you any kind of bread or crackers with it. They just, and it really bugs me, because what I want is a little bit of bread and to make my own like weirdo sandwich with it.
Yeah.
Well, a couple people have asked if you guys have ever considered writing a cookbook.
Oh.
Cool.
My sister and I discussed that over Thanksgiving this last year, because we were talking about some kind of food. I mean, this was all a joke, okay?
Oh,
we were discussing, I forgot what it was. We'd eaten something and they were like, oh God, that was a mouthful of regret. And then it spun off after that. And we decided that the two of us, because she is a professional cook, she has her own, kitchen, and she actually makes desserts for restaurants. And both of us were saying, we need to put a cookbook together where we give it names like Mouthful of Regret, and we'll call the cookbook the Malice and Hate Practical Cookbook for Family Gatherings.
Yes.
Because we thought it would be perfect for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We all know how family gatherings are at the holidays.
Yeah.
So yes, we have talked about, at least she and I have, coming up with the Malice and Hate Cookbook. So
I actually really love that. You should do it.
we should.
You should totally do that.
Yeah, I'd buy it. That'd be cool.
I would cook with it at Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Be like, just for the holidays, to have it dressed up and everything. That's what the Malice and Hate book for family gatherings.
And then I would buy that beer, the Dead Guy beer.
Yeah. I think there's one out there called Old Crustacean. Whoa,
Yes,
wow, that
crustacean,
one. Yep. That's another one. I have drank some really nasty beer over the years, thanks to Isaac, my brother-in-law.
There's a couple of questions about an Oro cookbook. Have Ilona and Gordon ever made any of Oro's recipes?
No.
No, we're not that
No,
fancy,
we're not that
unfortunately.
fancy, no. Cookbook is probably not in the cards because over the years I have gone to the dark side of like a pinch of this and a pinch of that and a little bit of this, and like my spice rub for like, I don't know, the ribs to go on the grill probably has like 8 or 9 spices in it, and I literally just eyeball how much I put of what. And so for me, the cookbook would be an exercise in just attempting to measure all the things that I put in there. Like, how do you measure a splash of Worcestershire? Did you put like 1 tablespoon to I don't know, however much it needed, that's how much I put. So I don't think, I would be able to actually write out, like when I write out the recipes, it's a bit of a struggle for me. And then I would have to take cute pictures of them. And here's the thing about my food. It's delicious. It doesn't always look like, unless I'm making a conscious effort, which for a while I had to, because one of our daughters has kind of eating disorders. And if the food was beautiful, she would eat it. So I can actually, if I really try, I can actually make that, Instagram worthy like lunch box, bento box, or like I can make sushi shaped like a flower and all that stuff. But in practice, I never do that. It's like some kind of meat, some kind of starch, bunch of veggies. That's all you get. I'm not sure that it would be.
Yeah, but this is the same child who, when they were quite small, she made like apple pork chops.
Oh my gosh!
And they threw a fit, a bloody fit.
Yes, this is like a family legend, right? So at some point, I found this. I was trying to expand the menu a little bit, and I found this really nice thing with grilled pork chops, and it had apple chutney of some sort going with it, right? And I made it, and for some reason, combination of pork and apples made my children cry. Now they were in elementary school at that point, but for some reason, this was like so far out of the comfort zone for whatever reason that they cried at the table. And then they told that story for years. It's been decades now.
Yeah.
And they're still basically telling
it. It was delicious, though. I will tell you.
Yeah, and I never made it again.
No.
Shame. Sounds wonderful.
It was really good. But for some reason, it just, in their head, it was anathema. They just couldn't.
But yeah, they couldn't deal with it. Yeah. So no cookbook forthcoming from me.
Got it. So a bunch of people have asked about desserts. I know you have a great apple cake recipe, Ilona, but what other desserts do you like when you get together? This is a true dinner discussion.
Yes.
Gordon and I usually split, what is it, creme brulee?
Oh, creme brulee. Yeah, I love to split a creme brulee with
Gordon
her.
likes cheesecake.
Oh, love cheesecake.
Here's the thing. I can make really elaborate desserts and cakes, but mostly my husband prefers it's either a pie, a crumble,
Strawberry shortcake. You made really
strawberry
good strawberry
shortcake,
shortcake.
yeah, or chocolate chip cookies. Those are kind of the 4 desserts that
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
simple for desserts.
Yeah, and that's it. And you know, and it's very satisfying because he'll walk into the kitchen and be like, cookie. Cookie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so-
what do you like to have? What do you snack on late at night, Patrick?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, he doesn't snack.
Oh.
Yeah, as far as desserts, I would
I-
probably say anything coffee flavored.
Yeah, I love coffee, so tiramisu, that's always in there. Anything that has some sort of coffee in it. I really, really,
Yeah.
really like that.
Pie, you like pie? I love pie.
Right.
I like cheesecake. He's not a fan. What else would you say?
Gosh.
Gelato, a
Oh,
really
yes.
nice imported
Really good.
gelato. We don't do gelato very well here by comparison. You get that stuff in Italy or it's imported from there. That's really, really good.
Absolutely.
What else? You like stuff with pistachios and everything? I'm not a big cake fan. I don't really like cake all that much. Cake's okay, but I could do without. Love brownies. What else?
Yeah, for
Anything?
the sweets,
I'm actually more of a savory person.
Right.
I don't really have a big sweet tooth.
yeah.
Hmm.
Under the desserts, that's the hard part, but talking about main courses, that's a different thing.
Yeah, coffee flavored stuff though, for sure. Both of us love that.
Very cool. Let's talk about your books a little bit, if you don't mind. Ilona and Gordon, Jan says, I love the richness of both of your worlds, years and graces. I will sometimes research myths and stories alluded to there in your stories. After Blood Air, I researched the wolf shepherd in Slavic culture, but didn't find a lot of information. Can you provide a hint of who is the wolf shepherd?
I know who's gonna be the wolf shepherd.
Oh.
Okay, so this is not, here's the thing. We did a lot of the real life mythos for like Kate Daniels, right? But going forward with Blood Air, we are probably going to do a lot more of what Russian people called a sbachina, which is a word for some weird crap I came up with. And that's because we want to kind of move away from the real life kind of myths. We will still use them as the foundation, but there's only so many times you can reimagine something that's really, really familiar. So the wolf shepherd is a made up thing. There are basically traces of it that you can pick up and find online. So you want to look at Veles, which is, okay, oh my God, okay. So a Slavic pantheon, Russian pantheon, right, is divided into worlds, right? There's the one world where there's basically kind of the dark gods, or rather the gods that are unfriendly to humans, let's say. And then there is the other world where there are gods that are light gods and are friendly to humans, right? So it kind of goes like human world, light world, dark world, and then there's chaos. And the dark world is the first line of defense against chaos. It's not that the dark gods are necessarily bad gods. It's that everything exists in a balance. For everything that the white, like, let's say the Billabog, the white god, right? It's literally called the white god. Everything that Billabog does, his twin brother Chernobog, the black god, has to do the opposite. Because without death, there's no rebirth. And so Veles kind of stands apart from all of this. He is the god of animals, and he is neither friendly nor unfriendly to humans. He doesn't care. He was here before us, he'll be here after us. And so if you want to kind of know a little bit more about that, look up Veles. It will be spelled Veles. And just look a little bit more about his legend. I'm sure you'll find some hints. But the particulars of that legend will be basically kind of made up, because we know very little. It's literally a small, obscure thing that I basically took from mythology, and we're going to develop it into a bigger thing. There you go. Okay, rambled too much.
Oh, thank you. And I didn't realize there was a possibility of spoilers there. So I'm just going to move on, if you don't mind. Grace, Radiance has such a refreshing approach to the whole arranged political marriage. No running, no tantrums. What inspired this novel or the entire series of the Wraith Kings? And are we going to get more books in this series?
Yes, to that last question, there are actually going to be 6 books in total, 6 novel-length books to the Wraith King series. So I'm currently working on number 4 right now, which is the Nomas King, and that's number 4. And then number 5 will be the Parias King, and number 6 is the Anastas King. So it will address each of the Wraith Kings that we saw appear in Idola. So there'll be 6 books. There's multiple novellas that sort of fill in some of the spots in between on the timelines for the novels. And the one I'm about to release fairly soon is called Black Hellebore. And that one is actually centered around the first couple, Brishan and Ildiko from Radiance. So that one will be coming out fairly soon. Hope to get that wrapped up. And I just did a cover reveal on that one. For Radiance, the inspiration, and this sort of ties back to when Ilona made my brand new Barkley website, I needed to drive traffic to it. So I decided I was going to write a short 12,000 word story called Radiance to bring traffic to the blog. And so I would post a chapter, to the blog maybe once a week or whatever. Well, it grew. And I remember telling my self-publishing editor, Mel, I was like, oh, it's just a short story. And she said, are you sure? I'm like, oh, yeah, short story. Well, then it grew to a novella. And then it became a book, a novel. And then it became the first in a series. So it definitely grew from there. The couple, as far as like no tantrums and so forth, I just sort of went with the premise that arranged marriages are not new. And I think if you had everybody throwing themselves on the floor and having temper tantrums over the fact they were going to have to marry somebody they didn't choose, there'd be a lot of chaos in the world. Arranged marriages occur, they happen. They aren't always between people who are going to hate each other. And I feel that if you were raised in societies where that was just an expectation from birth, that you would sort of accept it and learn how to get along with that other individual who's in the same boat you are. So.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a funny question for Ilona and Gordon. Is Sergeant Teddy from the Legacy stories based on the real story of Wojciech, the bear cub raised by Polish soldiers who stayed with them during World War II?
No.
I mean, there's a little bit of Smokey the Bear in there, at least from my side, because I am of a generation where we grew up with Smokey the Bear, which is supposedly a true story. They rescued the cub. And, but it's the guy in blue jeans and the thing like, only you can prevent forest fires, And there's just something about a bear. You see them. And in spite of like knowing what they are, you almost want to hug them. There's something so like, I don't know. You just want to grab them and get a big hug, but you realize, of course, it's probably going to kill you. But still, people still do it. Like people get into cages. We'll go to a zoo and get into a thing with a bear. So there's something about that. What are you doing?
Incoming, Tuna.
Oh, no. Hang on, guys. Oh, here's Tuna. I don't think they can see her.
Cat bombing.
That is awesome.
No, I waited to have a cup of tea on the desk, and I knew basically.
No,
that.
sometimes she's here. And like, I'll warn her. I'm like, you've got incoming Tuna. And she just jumps up and scatters everything all over.
Yes, it's just like, yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, that's funny. Grace, Sam says they absolutely love the Master of Crow books. Will you write more in that series?
Honestly, I don't really know. I had never really intended to go beyond Master of Crows itself, but then I ended up writing The Brush of Black Wings, which was the novella-length sort of follow-up to Master of Crows. And that book also ties into the Wraith King series. So that was sort of unexpected, but I found after writing, several books that I like to sort of intertwine my books together in a way that if you haven't read this one, it's okay. You could still follow along with this one. But if you had read this one and you read that one, excuse me, then you caught the Easter egg, and one over the other. So at this point, I don't have a plan to do so, but I'm not really fond of saying, never say never kind of thing. Who knows? I might, but right now, no.
Okay. Ilona and Gordon, do you think you'll be doing any in-person events for the release of Ruby Fever?
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
I told them that we would do whatever we could online, but not in person. So we have several things that are converging. We have the release of Ruby Fever. We are also have, and I can now finally talk about it a little bit. We have a manhwa adaptation. It's a Korean comic style, basically adaptation of Innkeeper that is going to be coming out in
Same day as.
same exact day.
Yep, same release date.
Same
And that
release
was
date.
not planned. We did
No,
not plan that.
I like it. It's kind of like they're scheduled. Basically, they knew when the Ruby Fever was coming out that their schedule kind of, forced them to have some choices. So we have double promotion going. And on top of everything else, we're still writing Innkeeper and finishing the latest installment. And so we simply do not have time. In-person promotion, we love to see all of our readers, but in-person promotion, it's time up like I can't even explain. It's probably not well known, but there was a delay when we published Ruby Burn for Me, right? There was a delay of 18 months after that for the book 2 and 3, which were published close together. The reason that delay happened is because they sent us to so much live event promotion things that we literally could not catch up on writing. So the thing is, we can either write or we can basically promote, but not both at the same time that well. And we would rather bring you new books than, live in-person events.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I met you, I don't know if you remember this, I met you and Gordon at KissCon a few years ago, like the last one before the pandemic. And you just had this huge entourage of people that just loved being there with you. And I think that that is something that readers really have missed during the pandemic and not being able to see our favorite authors in person. So I think I understand, but I'm also like,
It would be great if we could do like an informal sort of thing where we just went somewhere and just hung out. But it's always very regimented. It's the signing, the line, and that I mean, we are under pressure to we have maybe a minute with each individual reader. And, you have somebody who's like, I flew 17 hours to see you. And you're like, okay, how do I make this experience worthwhile for this person? I have a minute. We are we do much better at informal events where we can just kind of sit down somewhere like in a cafe or something with a bunch of people and just sort of chat and have a nice time.
Yeah, at a con, unfortunately, everybody's time is kind of very much spoken for. Sometimes I think the best you can do is when at the end of the day and things are over, if you can find someone you want to hang out with at the bar and everybody's just, kind of off from the day and everybody can just relax and chat and hang out. That's probably your best chance because you will probably catch, if you go to someone that you admire as an author, you might find them just sitting at the bar and at that point, they're more than willing to give you as much time as they have. Just previously, all their time is very like,
yeah, we're literally,
regimented.
Sometimes we used to, like at Comic-Con and stuff, we had a handler who was like, hold on to my backpack. And we're literally like kindergarten children would hold on to the backpack and she would force her way through because it's just enormously packed, like huge mass of people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get to our next basically event or panel. And so, yeah, it's, pandemic kind of put a stop to most of that.
Yeah, we're lucky because most people really like going to those. I know people, other authors that just, all they do is go to conventions, or they pre-pandemic they did. And I'm like, that's cool, but when do you write?
mm-hmm.
Like, is it like, what's his name, Castle? Where he's solving crimes during the day?
And then he's like, tap
on his laptop
at night.
Like,
we can't, a novel.
We can't
the
do
hell?
that. For us to do that, we have to write books. We have to be home.
Yeah, sitting in the chair going.
Yeah, sitting in the chair, just doing that. We can't be globetrotting and writing books.
Well, I'm just going to say that Ilona and Gordon, Patrick and Grace, you should come do a road trip up to Ashland, and we will have a very casual hangout. It'll just be me and maybe like a couple of my best friends. That's it.
I like, one of the things I do like is library events.
Yes,
That's all. Well,
library events
library
are
events.
always nice.
Library
The
events are fun.
Boston Public Library did one where it was a tea party, and it was
mhm.
hilarious. But I'll shut up and let
Oh, yeah.
let Grace talk a little bit because
We're just about out of time, but I do want to ask Grace if you've had that same experience of having to choose between meeting your readers and writing.
I definitely would have to agree on the idea that, readers are probably going to appreciate more that I write instead of chat with them live, just because, for one, I'm a slow writer anyway, so it takes me a while to get stuff out. On top of that, I'm already distracted enough at home. We have a really active, chaotic household, and so it's hard to find time to be able to sit down and write. So you sort of squeeze in that time. That being said, I've loved the conferences that I've gone to, and Patrick's come with me as well, and we've had a great time. I love meeting people.
Right.
I'm not, there are authors, I think, who, and I really feel for them, they struggle and feel overwhelmed by, massive crowds and just people all up in their face kind of thing. And these are enthusiastic readers who are just so happy to see them and everything like that. But that kind of stuff, that doesn't really bother me. I'm A-okay with it. Just like, I think we've been to enough rock concerts that we don't worry about crowds at this point.
That's true. I do miss all the events.
Yeah, the mosh pits and everything. So, a romance convention is no big deal. So, but yeah, it's, I did miss that during pandemic. We're actually going to go to a Polycon in 2023. So that would be the first one we've gone to, gosh, in the past couple of years. So, I think.
So where's that picture of you giving Mr. Draven a little smooch on the cheek at a con?
I was a keynote speaker at the Emerald City Writers Convention. So yeah, that was that was a really fun convention. that took place in October of 2019.
That was fun.
Oh, okay. So that was a while ago. It was a cute picture.
That was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that one.
Awesome. So we have just a couple more minutes, and people are just going on and about how much they love your virtual events, so that they get to meet you a little bit more and actually get to hear you speak, and even buy your books, signed from Blue Willow Bookshop. I put the link in the chat a minute ago. I know we sort of talked about this, but is there anything else coming up for you guys that we should be aware of in terms of other new books or new projects?
You want to go, Ilona?
Well, we know about Ruby Fever and the Innkeeper, the comics. So, is there anything else that we should know about? Tell us.
Some of you guys probably know about the graphic audio, which is, so it is an audio adaptation of Innkeeper books, right? That is full cast. So one voice per each character, and they do special effects, like dogs barking, things like that. And we noticed that our basically readers really enjoyed those. Some people don't care for them because it can be a little bit distracting, but it's almost like listening to a movie or like an old-fashioned radio play where, with Buck Rogers or something. And so we are happy to announce that you guys must have bought it in record numbers, because they bought the entirety of Kate Daniels, all of it, all of it. They got rights from us. They got some rights were owned by Ace. They got those. So I think that they have the entire Kate-centered series. I don't know if they have novellas, but they for sure.
Do they have Blood Air?
They don't have blood. I don't think they have Blood Air, but they bought the entire Kate arc from Magic Bites till Magic, Triumph.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know when it's coming, but they're saying maybe next year. But the same team that it has done the Innkeeper is attached to that same project. And I know the person who is doing it. Her name is Nora. She's amazing. She's so careful and respectful of the material. So as always, there will be a little bit abridged because, it's a play. It's less of a book than a play. But yeah, I will let you know more when we know more, but so far what we know is that, yeah, it's done deal, it's signed.
Yeah, the only thing I can compare it to, having listened to it, is like several years ago, the BBC did like that same thing with Hitchhiker's Guide. You know, to where there'd be different people doing the different voices, and it was like a old-fashioned radio program. That's what it reminded me of from hearing that when I was much younger.
Yeah.
So
We're very excited about it. We're looking forward to working with them on it. Hopefully it will be great. I will have more for you about the Tapas comic adaptation.
we're also going to do a secret after Innkeeper. We're going to do a secret Kate Daniels novella.
You did not hear that. Okay. So anyway, back to the
Not denying it though,
Back to
because
the-
it's true. Okay, go ahead.
back to the comic books.
Comic books.
Yeah.
Well, where can we get them for anybody who doesn't have them?
We will do a whole breakdown on our website, like showing you where you can get them. But the thing I wanted to stress about it is that so normal run of those comic books is it's basically once a week, although they put like a big chunk of it up front, like I think 10 to 20 issues. But then it's once a week. But the thing is, like, their season is 52 issues because, you know, the year. And so they had to expand the Innkeeper. And so they're doing clean sweep, but there's going to be a lot of extra. Like there's going to be like werecats in there and just weird stuff that wasn't in there before. So I'm super excited about it because they really have done a lot. Okay, I'm shutting up. Grace, it's your turn.
I'm sorry you have to follow that.
Mine isn't quite as exciting as that, and that is very exciting. Right now, the things that I have in the hopper are the third and final book in the Fallen Empire trilogy. That is Raven Unveiled. That's coming out November 8th of this year. Again, Black Hellebore will be coming out fairly soon. I don't have a date just yet, but probably within the next couple of months. We'll see. And then I've been working with Fae Crate, who have issued out Radiance and Eidolon in hardback. That they did a print run that sold out, and then they're actually going to collaborate with me to put the rest of the series as it gets finished also out in hardback. And I'm about to start work with another group called Arcane Society, and they will do something similar with Master of Crows and my Beauty and the Beast retelling and treatment. So pretty busy.
Yeah, I love Fate Crate. Are they going to create a new cover or anything like that?
Yes, it's new covers, there's new interior art, there's embossing and so forth. Really beautiful stuff.
Awesome. I'm all over it. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been fantastic. It felt like a true dinner discussion amongst friends, and I just really, really appreciate both couples taking the time to meet with us and just chat for this hour and a half. I thank you. I feel like I'm going to cry.
Oh,
It
no,
was a
don't
lot of
cry.
fun.
Oh, thank you all.
Thank you so much for coming and listening
Yeah.
to us chat. And thank you, Nina, thank you so much for arranging this. I know this has been a bit of a struggle with everybody's schedules, and I know that you have done an enormous amount of work. Also, thanks to our invisible Mod R, who has taken
Yeah.
everybody's questions. He's always amazing.
Yeah, good job, Modar.
It's awesome. Thank you so much. Mod R is the
Absolutely.
only reason we stay on schedule for anything.
Yeah,
so,
actually, she's
yeah,
very
that's
strict with
actually
us.
true.
It's so funny. Well, Patrick, it was lovely to meet you. I will look forward to more stories about you. All happy ones on Grace's social media. Yeah, happy grilling.
See somebody says, have a beer for us. Gordon, about that beer.
I know where they are.
Oh, you totally deserve as many beers as you want. Anyways, have a wonderful night. Thank you, everybody who's been here with us tonight. And I will send out the recording link probably tomorrow so you can watch it again or you can share with your friends. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.